a possible Detroit Lions and Kansas City Chiefs trade.
You're like, hey, this could be a steal, and at the end of the day, I still don't know where to land on this.
I really don't know what to think about it. It sounds great. Like, hey, you're just going to drop back 8 picks and you're going to get Sam LaPorta. Your tight end problem could be gone.
But you're getting them for the cost of a late second-round pick. It feels like it could be a swindle by Brett Veach if they were to do something like this.
With Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, when's the next time that you're going to have the opportunity to draft in the top 10 of the draft? Maybe never in the rest of his career. Football fans, welcome back to All Chiefed Up, the #1 independent Chiefs channel on YouTube. It is Tuesday, April the 14th. We're going to talk about a possible Detroit Lions and Kansas City Chiefs trade, the New York Giants looking to trade back from that number 5 pick, and we're going to talk about our top 10 prospects at each of the key positions for the Chiefs in the upcoming draft. Mike, what do we got for them?
First off, we got Scout Springgate from Lions Wire talking about a Fox Sports proposal for the Chiefs and Lions. It said Sam LaPorta trade between Detroit and the Chiefs. He goes on to say this: in its proposed trade, the Lions would swap first-round picks with the Chiefs, moving up from number 17 to pick number 9 with the Chiefs. The Chiefs would also send over a conditional 2027 fourth-round pick. Steve, upon first view, this looks a little weird. The more you think about it, you're like, hey, this could be a steal. And at the end of the day, I still don't know where to land on this.
Right. I really don't know what to think about it. It sounds great. Like, hey, you're just going to drop back 8 picks and you're going to get Sam LaPorta. Your tight end problem could be gone, right? But Sam LaPorta hasn't been as good as his rookie season. He's just come off of back surgery. So it's a little sketchy. And then you also have to think about this, man. With Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, when's the next time that you're going to have the opportunity to draft in the top 10 of the draft? Maybe never in the rest of his career. So I don't know if you could do this or not. And I'm right there with you, man. I don't know how to feel about the entire thing.
No, I don't either. I took it to the Rich Hill value chart, which is the thing closest to what the teams use to see about what the cost would be. We're going to give up 387 with pick number 9. We're going to get back 296 plus Sam LaPorta and possibly a 2027 conditional fourth-round pick, which that's conditional, so you can't really throw it in right now. So the swing is right now 387 to 296, 91 points. So on that Rich Hill value trade chart, 91 points is the value, is the exact value of pick number 59, which is a late second round pick. So you're essentially getting a tight end that come out of tight end U in Iowa. He had a good rookie season, but now he's dealt with a few injuries here and there. But you're getting him for the cost of a late second round pick. It feels like it could be a swindle by Brett Veach if they were to do something like this. But also, like you mentioned, with the injuries, you just don't know. Like, he had a full-on disc herniation in his back. And it's like, are you going to be able to block the same way? Are you going to be able to take all those hits? Maybe are the Lions trying to get rid of him because the surgery didn't turn out well?
Exactly.
Like, who knows?
Back injuries are no joke, right? And when you really think about this, it's not just the injury problem either. Sam LaPorta is going to want to get paid a lot of money. I mean, if you think about it, the reason why the Lions would even propose this trade to the Kansas City Chiefs is for exactly what you said. We don't know how he's going to be coming off the surgery. And B, we don't want to pay him because they kind of have a champagne problem right now, right? They have all these young guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Sam LaPorta. They all need to be paid massive extensions. At some point,
a lot of them's got paid already.
You got to pay all these guys, right? Well, Sam LaPorta is probably projected at somewhere around an $80 million extension, so he's not going to come cheap. So that's something else the Chiefs have to consider as well. If you have to pay this guy damn near $20 million a year, then maybe you don't do that. You just draft Kenyon Sadiq or Eli Stowers.
Yeah, look, he battled a hamstring strain back in 2024. He had an AC joint, shoulder sprain. He's had plenty of injuries. To me, it scares me a little bit. But at the same time, you're basically moving back to the mid-first round, and you're giving up what's essentially a late second pick for maybe somebody that's already proven that they can come in and be dominating for years to come to replace Travis Kelce. My thing is, I just think that the disc herniation is not a minor surgery, especially with a tight end that's got to take big hits, block a lot, do things like that, absorb a lot of contact. I just don't know if it's vital. So you got to kind of look at like, well, if you don't get him and maybe you go to the draft room, like what are you looking at? You know, it's Kenyon Sadiq. Well, now if you're trading down to the mid-first round, you don't even need Kenyon Sadiq because you got LaPorta. So that takes him off the board there. But in real life, if you don't make the trade, is it take Kenyon Sadiq at 9? He's not fallen to 29. So now do you have to give up more draft capital to come up from 29 if he were to fall to 20 or 21? If you maybe believe some of the hype, Eli Stowers at 29, which every fan in the world would literally like have a mental breakdown because they don't hear what we hear and they don't understand. Their PFF rankings have them at number 55, so you can't take them any higher than that.
It's amazing how many people are so proud to talk about how PFF sucks ass. They hate PFF. It's trash. It's garbage. But they will go by their draft rankings like it's the word of God.
Right. They'll sit there and do 100 plus mock drafts, and it tells them that Eli Stowers is rated number 57, so they can get him in the middle of the second round or the early third round every time.
And sometimes he even drops to the fourth round on my PFF mock.
Right. So that's what he's worth. No, you've got to go do some different digging and stuff like that. But
I think, here's my thing with this, Mike, real quick. I think there's more smoke to the fact that the Lions are probably trying to use Sam LaPorta as a trade piece than the Chiefs being a player in that. And here's the reason why. I mean, there's also another guy that writes for NFL.com, Eric Edom. I don't know how he says it, but he says it's a win-win trade scenario would be Sam LaPorta to the Washington Commanders in exchange for the number 7 pick in Ben Sinnott.
Right. They had threw that one out earlier.
Right. So you start thinking about that, and then you think about what they proposed for the Chiefs. I think that maybe that the Lions might be looking to get rid of Sam LaPorta, probably for money reasons and things like that. But for the Chiefs, if you're looking at it from their perspective, that would be a bit risky, and it would be like a go for it type thing. Like, look, we're going to lose a top 10 pick, which essentially you're only moving back 8, so it's not like massive, but you're losing a top 10 draft pick to go after a guy that's proven already and can be with Patrick Mahomes for the next 5+ years. And maybe they can get a good chemistry going. I don't know if they will think that's a good idea. We'll have to see if Brett Veach even kicks the tires on that one.
Yeah, the big caveat is the health. It's the risk, the health, everything like that. I did see today that someone very prominent within the Chiefs community put out that trade proposal and then said that Sam LaPorta is not worth the number 9 pick in the draft because they don't understand how trade value works. We wasn't giving him up for just the number 9 pick. I don't think anybody in the world would have suggested that.
We're getting back pick 17, was it?
It's not a straight up number 9 for Sam LaPorta. People have to figure out life a little bit. But anyways, let's move it along. We had just come out with our recent mock drafts, and of course we set the world on fire with those because we didn't follow the PFF draft rankings.
Right, yeah.
And a big thing that I did, Steve, was say that the Chiefs needed to land a top pass rusher. I specifically wanted Reuben Bain. I chose to go up to the Giants at number 5 because I was hearing on the back end that the Giants were interested in shopping that pick and maybe moving back. Well, lo and behold, today, Giants exploring trade down options at number 5. This was just reported yesterday. So while we're recording this, you guys are seeing it the next day. But just today at 5:18 p.m., Chiefs are looking to move up 2026 NFL draft rumors. This was put out by Cleveland.com. So an actual newspaper. It says, while there's no indication the Giants are shopping the pick aggressively, the prevailing belief around the NFL is that New York would entertain a modest trade down, not a dramatic slide out of the round, but if results in a day 2 selection. With new head coach Harbaugh emphasizing long-term roster sustainability and depth, the Giants' decision at number 5 remains one of the key pressure points in the first round. They go on to say Reuben Bain Jr.'s name was put out there as a potential catalyst for early trade movement. Wonder who that could be, possibly the Chiefs. Beyond Bain, league buzz has connected the Chiefs to Ohio State's Arvell Reese or David Bailey as a possible trade-up target as well. With the Jets heavily linked to Bailey at number 2, and only one of the 2 pass rushers expected to be available at number 3, KC could look to engage the Cardinals possibly, who are believed to be open to moving down about 6 spots. So I wanted to look at this as well. Chiefs trade-up candidate. It says after disastrous, 2025, Rappaport believes that general manager Brett Veach would trade up a little bit. And then they go on to say this: if the price excludes number 29 overall and instead centers around pick 40 and an additional mid-round pick, the Chiefs may find it a difficult pass on the chance to add a potential franchise edge rusher to anchor their defense moving forward. Steve, it sounds like to me what we hear on the back end sometimes, actually, there's some smoke, there's some fire, it's gaining a little traction. Why do you think about the Chiefs moving up to number 5? Is it serious at this point?
Of course it's serious. I've been saying it's probably serious. If the Chiefs move around in this draft, it's going to be up. That's just how Brett Veach operates. He's not a trade back type guy. I think we only saw that like once, maybe twice.
Once.
I think it was Sky Moore. He traded back, and look what that did for him.
Yeah, we don't want to set that as a
miss out on
precedent.
George Pickens, and he ended up with Sky Moore. So maybe he learned his lesson there. But I do think that they are going to be aggressive. I mean, why wouldn't you be? Like I said earlier, you're not going to get many opportunities in the Patrick Mahomes era to draft inside the top 10 of the NFL draft. And if you're sitting at number 9 and the guy that you want, whoever that might be, is going to be gone before 9, but you could go up to 5 and get him, you're going to do it, dude. And I know that Brett Veach is going to be that way because he's hyper aggressive. He's one of those guys, Mike, once there's someone that he wants, he will find a way to get them, sometimes to a detriment. Like Kadarius Toney. He loved Kadarius Toney, couldn't get him, and he waited and waited and waited, got his chance and got him. He's done that with several people where he'll get them later. Like guys that we think he's going to draft and he's not able to get, and then he'll go after them the first minute he gets a chance to do. He even did it with Tyquan Thornton here recently. So I think that he will be aggressive in this draft. And here's the thing, dude. They mentioned a couple other names besides Reuben Bain Jr. in that article. Arvell Reese is the one that kind of comes to mind and is like, whoa, that's a little weird. We don't hear that one much. But I will tell you this. The more digging I do, the more I see Arvell Reese and the Chiefs connected. That would be really off script for them. We're talking about how David Bailey could be off script for the Chiefs by getting a speedy edge rusher, somebody who's not known for setting the edge and being great in run defense. Arvell Reese is another step in that direction because he's a very undersized guy, but his speed is absolutely insane. He's a generational athlete, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were to try that either.
Yeah, I don't love the Arvell Reese thing. I think he's my least favorite out of those. I'm coming around to David Bailey a little bit. Obviously, Bain's my number 1 guy there, but we'd have to see. Look, I think the Giants could do something like this. They're in a total rebuild mode, to be honest. Moving from 5 to 9 will get you another asset later in the draft so they can continue to build a little bit. Plus, the guys that they possibly could want to take at number 5 could still be there at number 9. A Carnell Tate, I think a Mekhi Lemon could fit in there. If they wanted to go defense, it's possible a Sonny Styles could fall that far. It's possible that you may get Caleb Downs, who is the best player in the draft, but he absolutely could fall to number 9. So I think that they have incentive to move down and pick up some more. The Chiefs got a lot of incentive to go up. This is something I was playing around with today. And I want you, this is real time. I've not told you this. We're going to get your full reaction on this. What if the Chiefs were to give up number 9, number 74, and the 2027 third-round pick from the Rams that we got for Trent McDuffie? So that's essentially 503 points on the Rich Hill trade value chart. We move up to number 5 to take Reuben Bain. If Reuben Bain's off the board, you go ahead and you take, my second pick would be Bailey, but it's going to be Bain or Bailey at 5. And then they have to throw in with the value, and this is what he's been projected as, the number 118th and the number 213th, which is about 20 points on the value chart for Kayvon Thibodeau. So with one move, you lose the projected third round next year and a 74 this year, but you get Bain or Bailey and Kayvon Thibodeau to put on your line instantly, and you still get to keep your number 29 and your number 40 in this year's draft to take your corners or your tackles or your defensive tackles. Do you like that idea, or do you think that's just insane? Because we know Kayvon Thibodeau has not lived up to standards, and these are Brett Veach specials he likes to go out and look at.
I actually think that's pretty intriguing, to be honest, Mike. And here's the reason why. Because they want to go up anyway and get their guy, right? And if you could double dip at the position that you need to double dip at right off the rip, and then have the whole rest of the draft to kind of take best player available, why the hell not? I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't think I could be mad at it, and I don't see how many people could be mad at it. You can think Kayvon Thibodeau is never going to live up to what they thought he should be. But like you said, that's a Brett Veach special. That is what Brett Veach does. Right up his alley to go get a guy that was drafted in the first round and didn't pan out quite correctly and see if they can get something out of him. I think that would be pretty intriguing. If you were to be able to get Kayvon Thibodeau and say they ended up getting David Bailey as well, now all of a sudden you have 2 speed rushers. And if you could end up getting Kayvon Thibodeau up to par of where he should be, I mean, you could absolutely rake in that draft right there.
Well, even the thing, if you get Bain, people don't like Bain because they say he's not as much of a speed rusher. He's more of a, set the edge, play the run defense. He might not give you double-digit sacks.
But he has short arms, man.
Right. But now you're going to get Thibodeau, which is the exact opposite, the speed rusher with him.
Right.
I just thought that was kind of intriguing they ever thought about moving on from Kayvon Thibodeau because, like you said, you knock out 2 defensive ends with essentially 1 pick, and you're really not giving up much for the Kayvon Thibodeau, maybe the 3rd round next year, and that's if it actually pans out well. So, it's one of those things where I would consider it. I don't know if it's very possible outside of the realm of, say, Madden or anything like that. I don't understand, but I just had that thought today, and I was like, look, does it make any sense? And I kind of put it in on a little bitty thing, and the draft value come up, and it actually said that the Chiefs, this was a 1.8% differential, and it was a very, very fair trade. They would give the slight value to the Giants just by a tad bit. So I don't know, man.
Interesting.
Let's go ahead and move it on. Chiefs Kingdom, we have officially partnered with PrizePicks, America's #1 sports picks app. PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports platform. It's distinctly separate from a traditional sports book, and it's the absolute best way to add some extra heat to every single game. The app is incredibly easy to use. You aren't playing against sharks. You're just picking more or less on an individual player projection. Think Kenneth Walker's total rushing yards per game, more or less. Travis Kelce's total touchdowns in 2026, only 4, more or less. You just pick at least 2 players, lock in your lineup, and you're in the action. PrizePicks is available in most states, including California, Texas, Florida, and right here in the heart of America, Missouri and Kansas. One thing we love is the new public feed. You can actually find and follow us directly on the app at All Chiefed Up. You'll be able to see our live lineups and tell our picks before we even post them here on the channel or our other social media platforms. So if you haven't joined yet, just download the app and use code HMA when you sign up. When you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. Click the link in the description, use code HMA, and remember to always play responsibly. Now back to the show. Let's look at some of ours, because we just talked about some edge rushers. Let's look at some of our top 10 rankings per position, because people are hearing this on Wednesday, which means you've got exactly 8 days and the draft kicks off. So
crazy.
Next Wednesday and then that Thursday night, the draft's going to kick off. So I was like,
do you feel the excitement in the air, Mike?
I'm excited, man. So I'm ready to give you my top 10 rankings for all the Chiefs positions of need. You haven't seen these, and what you're going to do is you're going to react to them and tell me where you would change it or if you would put somebody totally different or whatever else.
Let's do it.
So let's go ahead and bring these in. The first one I want to get to is I'm going to start with this one, wide receiver. Number 1, Carnell Tate. Number 2, Mekhi Lemon. Omar Cooper Jr. at 3, Jordan Tyson at 4. I still couldn't feel comfortable about Tyson's injuries to get him above Omar Cooper again for me. I still just love Omar Cooper. Denzel Boston at 5. KC Concepcion at 6. I got Jeremy Bernard at 7. That's higher than most, but I'm sticking with it. Antonio Williams has moved into my top 10. I think he is the best route runner besides Jordan Tyson, and I think him and Bernard there at 7-8 is a very good selection somewhere in the mid to late second round. I absolutely love that. Chris Brazzell, I'm coming around on him a little bit at number 9, and of course, Chris Bell at number 10. I like Chris Bell a lot more than most to do the Rashee Rice role. I'm kind of over the whole entire, the knee injury thing. I think it's going to be fine. So I think I'm good with Chris Bell at number 10. He edged out Teddy Hurst for me at number 10.
Right. So here's where I would start trying to get you to tweak some things if we were on a consensus. I don't know if I can put Omar Cooper Jr. above Jordan Tyson. And the reason, I know you cited the injuries, but if you take the injuries out of play, Jordan Tyson is the best receiver in this draft. So it's really hard for me not to have Jordan Tyson in the top 3. So, but I think Omar Cooper Jr. would be my 4, so that's not a big deal. I would also try to flip-flop probably KC Concepcion and Denzel Boston. I seem to like KC Concepcion a little bit more than Denzel Boston, and that's just personal taste, but I can see why you would have it that way. Now, the one that I would argue, and I'd actually probably go more in depth, would probably be Chris Bell at 10, because I think that he could possibly be above Jeremy Bernard, right there, right behind KC Concepcion, and that's
gotcha.
That's kind of where I would have it. But I'm okay with Antonio Williams making your top 10. I love that kid. I think he's awesome. Chris Brazzell as well. There's a couple of other guys I could throw some names around that could kind of get into that top 10 a little bit, but it's kind of just personal taste.
Right. Teddy Hurst, Zach Branch, Bryce Lance.
Zach Branch would probably be the one I would probably squeeze in.
Right. Those kind of guys are right on the thing. And for me, Brazel at 9, I thought was fair. It's tough because he's a Tennessee wide receiver. They get bad rap.
Right.
And then Chris Bell, I just couldn't get him as high as Bernard because we haven't heard a lot about that ACL just yet. So I still can't pinpoint down where he'll be drafted.
What a dog. If he comes
he is a dog.
Good, you know?
So let's move on to tight end, man. I think number 1 and number 2 for us is about spot on. Sadiq and Stowers.
Yeah, there's no other way to do this. No.
Right. Number 3, Max Clare. 4, Dallin Bentley. 5, Justin Jolie, who the Chiefs brought in on the top 30. I have moved Oscar Delp up to 6. I like him better than Trigg because I think his potential to block is better, and Oscar Delp didn't basically quit on his team twice and get kicked off the team. So Michael Trigg kind of, goes the wrong way there. Eli Raridan at number 8. He's got some good things at Notre Dame, but he just cannot stay healthy. He's constantly injured. Jack Injuries out of Texas, and then Joe Royer is my number 10 out of Cincinnati. I don't think those two offer a lot. I did consider putting Tanner Cozio in the top 10, but it felt just a little bit rich for me. So this is how I ended up. I think Delp's the highest I've had him all draft cycle. And, of course, a lot of people might not agree with me with Dallin Bentley in the top 5.
Yeah, so this one is not as argumentative as the wide receiver one to me. Like, I could kind of roll with this. I do think Oscar Delp's up a little high here, but I mean, if you just go by pure athleticism and ceiling, then sure, I think it's fine. The one guy that I don't see on this list, I'd probably take Eli Raridan off of the list completely if it was me, and probably have Sam Roush on there.
Okay. That's totally understandable. Sam Roush has got good potential at 6'6", 267.
Eli Raridan has potential, don't get me wrong, but this kid is hurt far more than Jordan Tyson, and Jordan Tyson kind of gets a knock for being injury prone, but I think I would do it to Eli Raridan.
Yeah, in 2022, season-ending torn ACL for Eli Raridan. In 2023, he only played in 7 games. In 2024, he did get to play in all 16 games, but he was only good enough to start in 3. And then in 2025, he only got to start in 12 games.
Right.
So he's never played a full season. He's always injured. He does have ties to the league, though. I think his dad played in the NFL. So, I mean, a lot of people like him. A lot of Chiefs Kingdom are really high on him. I know Price Carter is. Different, other people like that. I think Matt Lane's pretty big on him. I just couldn't get there with him because of the injuries. And you'll see that's a common thing for me throughout. Chris Bell, Jordan Tyson. It's a common thing, but I mean, it's not, you don't want to go in and spend a bunch of draft capital and having these guys just miss time.
I'm not trying to, be a certain way about these guys that have the injuries, but like with Chris Bell, he's had one injury. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had one injury.
That's true.
He's coming off one injury. Jordan Tyson, Eli Raridan, these are guys that are a little bit sketchy because it's a pattern, right? So those kind of throw me off a little bit. Let's talk about your offensive tackle rankings, Mike. Let's go do this. So number 1, you got Francis Maianoa. Then you got Monroe Freeling, Spencer Fano, Max Ionicher, Blake Miller, Caden Proctor, Caleb Lomu, Caleb Tiernan, Emil Wagner, and Austin Barber. So you feel pretty solid about that. I know you're not big on Caden Proctor. I kind of feel like he's getting dogged a little bit right here.
Dude, hey, when I wrote it, I felt bad too because look, I think Caden Proctor could.
I think he goes right in beside Fano, dude. Like,
bro, we've heard that he was rumored to go at number 6 with Cleveland.
Yeah,
it's very possible. I honestly just don't think Caden Proctor's no better than a late first-round pick. If the Chiefs took him at 29, I wouldn't be super, super angry at it, but I could not. Dude, if they took him at 10 or 9, I would throw my TV in the river.
He is a massive, strong lineman. Like, there is a lot of potential there. I understand your drawbacks, but the potential is kind of high with him. I think his ceiling's higher than some of the other guys on this list here. The only other thing I would do here, and you can kind of take off who you want out of the bottom 3, but I would have Markel Bell from Miami on my top 10. I just like the fact that he is a freaking mammoth, like a tower, like 6'9", ridiculous wingspan, and he let up 0 sacks in his entire career as a tackle in Miami. So I really like Markel Bell. And, he has trouble with some guys on the inside and some speed rushers and stuff like that. Probably same kind of stuff you saw with Caden Proctor. But I just feel like he's a really good prospect.
Yeah, I like Markel Bell. I really do. I think he'll be probably an early day 3 kind of guy. I've got him ranked number 16. I feel like he gets a lot of bad positions in his one-on-one. And I don't know why. Like, I just don't think he's quick enough sometimes. And I don't see too much aggression in his pass protection. Like, I want to see him be a little meaner sometimes. So, I don't know. He gets caught, like, wide a little bit, gets the bear huggy. And I don't know. There's just little things, but they're nitpicking. Like, these are all good. I think he would be a pretty good inside zone kind of tackle. And to mention what you said, he is a massive human. 87 1/8 wingspan.
Yeah.
There's only one bigger than him, and that's Christian Jones out of San Diego State. And I'm pretty sure that kid's probably going to be a UDFA round 7 kind of guy. So for all the draftable guys, Markel Bell really does have the biggest wingspan, besides probably Demetrius Crownover from A&M. And
right.
I don't know about him either. He's 25 years old, I think, by the end of the day. So who knows, man? But let's move it along a little bit. Let's go into some defensive rankings here. Ruben Bain, edge. That's my number 1 on edge. No surprise there. David Bailey, number 2. Arvell Reese, number 3. TJ Parker, number 4. Man, so
I don't know about it either.
Parker, Young, and Mesidor for me is like 3 that could be a little interchangeable. But I go with Parker because I feel like maybe he's got a little more juice than Zion. I don't even know. Like, it's like splitting hairs. I've just got Parker at 4, Zion Young at 5, and Akeem Mesidor at 6. Mesidor, if he was younger, he could absolutely be the number 4 guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, of course, Keldrick Falk. I'm not super big on Keldrick Falk. I'm really big on Gabe Agus at 8, but I just couldn't justify putting him over Falk because I do think Falk's got a better chance of going in round 1. And then, of course, Malachi Lawrence. I like what he did at UCF. And then Cassius Howe, if you're talking pure speed rusher, yes, he's got small arms.
He's a dog,
yes,
dude.
he could be dominated, but Cassius Howe was one of the first guys I fell in love with in this draft process because he's a dog.
That was the first one I did, too. I remember telling you about it. I was like, dude, this Cassius Howe guy is insane. But on this one, I'm kind of right there with you. The TJ Parker, Zion Young, Akeem Mesidor. I think if I had to tweak this, I would probably change Parker and Mesidor because I think I might like Zion Young a little bit better than TJ Parker. I'm not for sure about that, but I could go back or forth. I think Akeem Mesidor is better than both of those two, but like you said, he's a little bit of an older prospect. Keldrick Falk, I might drop a little bit from where you have him, but it's hard. It's hard to do that to him because he's such a young guy and he's got a pretty high ceiling. Like if they could get like, you know, a little more, be a little more of a pass rush presence and get him, you know, putting pressure on quarterbacks as opposed to just being a shutdown run defender, then Keldrick Falk could be a beast for somebody. But, I mean, there's a lot of work to do there. But, yet again, 20 years old, there's a lot of time to work on that with him. Cassius Howe at 10 is totally fair to me. Like, I kind of want to push him up higher just because I love the way he plays, but he is very undersized.
Right. A lot of people's going to have R. Mason Thomas in there. It's possible you could put Derek Moore in there. It's possible Danny Dennis Sutton goes in there.
Right.
But once those 3 get hit and maybe Joshua Josephs out of Tennessee, you've got about 14 deep. And then to me, I think it falls off a cliff. You're going to see all these guys go pretty early. Let's move it on to defensive tackle. Number 1, I'm sticking with Peter Woods, man. I had Christian Miller there for a long time. But I've now put him down to 3, and I've got Caden McDonald at 2. I think Woods and McDonald are first-round locks here, and Miller is on the fence for me. So I've got Miller at 3. Caleb Banks, because of the foot injury, this is, you know, he's your guy. I get it. That's probably where you're going to fight me on it. But Caleb Banks at number 4, I just don't think he's going to get inside the first round. Now, look, I could be wrong, but I think he's out of the top 32 picks. But Caleb Banks at 4 because he does have a lot of potential. He's got high upside. He's got a huge wingspan. He's just got metrics out the ass. Number 5, Lee Hunter. I'm not as big as a lot of people on Lee Hunter. He had a good Senior Bowl, but I just think he's a little top heavy. He don't got enough junk in the trunk. I just don't know if he's going to be great or if he's just going to be mediocre at the next level. At number 6, I've got Dominique Orange, the big citrus. He's a big run stuffer. At number 7, this is a little bit of a surprise. Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma. Absolutely love the juice this kid brings. He played wide receiver in high school. Like, he is so athletic, dude. He is amazing. Chris McClellan out of Mizzou at number 8. Darrell Jackson, another big run stuffer there at number 9. And then Nick Barnett out of South Carolina. The more film I watch of Nick Barnett, really impressed by him. Thought he done well at his pro day. That's my top 10, man. And I guess if I had anybody that I could have snuck in there, I was kind of thinking about Landon Robinson right there at the end.
Landon Robinson.
Maybe even DeMonte Capehart out of Clemson. That's a name nobody's talking about because of Peter Woods and TJ Parker, but DeMonte Capehart's got some really good film, dude.
Right. Well, you hit the nail on the head. You know where I'm going to argue here. I would have Caleb Banks outright number 2 on this list. I would also have Lee Hunter probably at 3, and then Caden McDonald, Kristen Miller. You can kind of switch those whichever way you want. That's probably a little controversial, but that's just the way I had him graded. Love the big citrus, but I probably wouldn't have him at 6. He'd probably be more around 9 if it was mine. But I'm with you on Grayson Halton. I like him a lot. He'd probably still be in that 6 to 7 range. And I think that's pretty fair, though. I'm not going to argue it too much, other than the Caleb Banks, and I'm a little higher on Lee Hunter than you, I think.
So you don't think Caden McDonald's going to go round 1?
I mean, he could, absolutely could, but I also think Lee Hunter and Caleb Banks could. So, okay. I really don't know. Kristen Miller, he's kind of fell down a little bit for me, but I mean,
yeah, he's on the fence for me for sure.
I mean, honestly, I'm not going to be surprised to see him, right there at the beginning of day 2. So. I don't know, man. It's an interesting one, but yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty fair list, though.
Okay, well, let's move it on the corner. Number 1, Jermod McCoy. Number 2, Mansour Delane. I think that's everybody's number 1, number 2, and they may have flip-flopped them a little bit. And I'm not going to argue that too much.
I agree with you on this one. I would have Jermod McCoy number 1.
Yeah, I think when he showed that knee was fine, I kind of like his body style and everything a little bit better. Number 3, Chris Johnson. This one might be a surprise, but I think he's flying up draft boards. From everything I'm hearing, he's going to go in the first round. There's a lot of teams, a lot of GMs telling people that are sending out their drafts and their big boards like, hey, move Chris Johnson up, move him up. He's got a high IQ. He knocked it out of the park in all of his meetings. I like Chris Johnson. I think he can do zone off coverage. I think he can do man. He's got a lot of potential. Number 4, Colton Hood. I like his physicality. Steve, you know as well as I do, I did not like Colton Hood for a lot of this process.
Right.
About 2 weeks ago, I've come around on Colton Hood a lot. I think he's more of an outside guy. He can hold his own out there, and I think him and McCoy together at Tennessee would have been amazing to watch in 2025. Too bad we didn't get to. Avion Terrell, Steve, I actually moved him up above Brandon Cisse. I don't know if I love it. I just think Terrell's going to go before Brandon Cisse. From all the vibes I'm getting, I think Terrell could possibly go in the first round. He may even go above Colton Hood. He's more of a slot guy for me and a nickel kind of dude. I don't know how he holds up in the run game at the next level, but we'll see. He could prove me wrong. Cisse at number 6. I just can't find a spot to give anybody Brandon Cisse. This dude could fall out of the top 50 for all I know. He's kind of lost all of his draft buzz early, but for me, he's the number 6 guy. D'Angelo Pons, dude, if he weighed 190 pounds, he'd be my CB number 2. Maybe even CB1. He is such a dog, dude. But yeah, he would be awesome, though, as a nickel kind of guy. But he's my number 7. He's probably going to go top 50. Number 8, Dalen Everett. I'm a little higher on him, but when he run in the 4.3s and he comes out of Georgia, and even when people think that Georgia guys aren't going to do well in the league, they do well in the league at the corner position. We may have had the only one that we drafted or that we got from the Giants as a bust that never really panned out. I don't even remember his name, dude.
Talking about DeAndre Baker?
Yeah, DeAndre Baker. He might be the only corner out of Georgia that never really panned out. But number 9, Keith Abney. He was really high in our early draft process, but I've kind of moved him down a little bit. I think he's got some limitations. And then number 10, cracking my top 10 for the first time, Chandler Rivers. I really love what I see from him, and I do think he can play inside and out. So I'm a really big Chandler Rivers guy right now. I think he'd be a nice guy to bring in and get Chamari Connor out of the slot, dude.
Yeah, I like bringing Chandler Rivers into the top 10. I'm perfectly fine with that. Where I would argue you on this one was I would definitely have Avion Terrell above Colton Hood. I like him obviously a little bit better than you. I think he can play the outside. I think if you want like a Trent McDuffie style cornerback, that you go to Avion Terrell or Brandon Cisse, in my opinion. I think they both kind of fit that mold where they would be probably better in the nickel, but they can go outside. But they're also not guys that are ball hawks either. They're guys that don't produce a lot of turnovers, but they're so sticky and they're just insanely good in man coverage that I think they remind me of Trent McDuffie. I'm with you about D'Angelo Pons. He can't be Mighty Mouse because of Steven Nelson, but he can be Danger Mouse. And his name's D'Angelo, so he's Danger Mouse for me. And I think I would keep him right there where you have him. I kind of wanted to drop him down a little bit just because he's so undersized, but you just can't, man. There's a big dog inside that little guy, bro. So I love it. I love the Dalen Everett one. I think he's right there where he should be. I could probably argue Keith Abney a little bit with Chandler Rivers, like flip-flopping them or moving Abney down to number 11. I like Charles Demings maybe getting in that top 10 as well.
Demings was on number 11, and Chandler outdid him just a little bit because of his level of competition there in the ACC.
I wouldn't remove Chandler Rivers. I would have removed Keith Abney probably.
Keith Abney. Yeah. Okay, man. Yeah, I really like Demings. Demings was on number 11 right now. And look, these could all change. We've still got 9 days before the draft. They could change again, but this is where we're at right now, at least where I'm at. You give your intake, and I mean, we're pretty spot on. Why wouldn't we be? We're all chiefed up.
Of course. If you guys don't care, hit that like button for us if you enjoyed any of today's episode. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to give us a 5-star review, put some kind words down there, share us out with your friends, help your boys out, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you next time. Go Chiefs.